Hi, Keith here from Academy of Bass. Today I'd like to talk to you about a really common chord progression and one that you should be comfortable playing over. Hi, I'd like to look at the minor blues today, and like many others it's one of those staple common chord progressions that you're going to play over many times, so it really should be part of your bass playing toolkit. It's used widely in blues and jazz, but to be honest you hear it everywhere and there are absolutely hundreds of songs based on it. It shares many similarities to a typical 12-bar blues in that it's based on the same 12-bar form, and it also uses chords 1, 4 and 5 of the parent key that it's been played in, but with it being a minor blues, all of those chords are minor chords. Now today I'm going to be playing an A minor blues, so the first thing we need to do is learn the chords. Chord 1 is A minor and it's played for 4 bars. Then we jump to chord 4, which is D minor, and that's played for 2 bars. Then it's back to chord 1, A minor, for 2 bars. Then we jump to chord 5, E minor, for 1 bar, and then it's chord 4, D minor, for 1 bar, and then finally it's back to chord 1, A minor, for 2 bars. So you can see it's quite a simple chord progression, and this is it in its most basic form because it is subject to alteration and subject to chord substitution, and you'll see it in some forms where you might not even recognise that it's a minor blues, particularly in the world of jazz. But this is it in its most basic format. So let's look at what to play over it. And like all things bass, we're going to start with the root note. So I'm going to play through the chord progression using only root notes so that you can hear the form. A minor, and again, and again. Then we move to D minor, chord 4, and again, back to A minor, chord 1. Now it's E minor, chord 5, D minor, chord 4, back to A minor, chord 1. The next thing we can use are the notes in the chords. So we've got minor chords, and the formula for a minor chord is root, flattened third and fifth. Now I have done a lesson previously on minor chords, so I'll post a link to that below, but for now I'm going to whiz through this quite quickly. So A minor, we've got root, flattened third and fifth, or A, C and D. D minor, we get D, F and A. E minor, we get E, G and B. Now we can also play these arpeggios with a different fingering. By the way, arpeggio is just a term for the notes in the chord played in order. So instead of playing root, flattened third, fifth, we can play root, flattened third, fifth. Now it's quite common for the basic 3-note triad to be altered, and in this case we're going to alter it by adding a flattened 7. So instead of playing a minor chord, we're going to play a minor 7 chord. That's really common in music. So we get root, flattened third, fifth and flattened 7th. So we've now got A, C, E, G, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D. And as with the basic triad, we can also play this with a different fingering, and that is root, flattened third, fifth, flattened 7th. So what I'm going to do now is play through the chord progression again, and this time I'm just going to use the notes in the chords. Here's the first arpeggio pattern. We're on A minor to D minor, back to A minor, then it's E minor, D minor and A minor, and there's the second variation. So you can hear that it sounds great, and all we're doing is playing the arpeggio, playing the notes in the chords up and down, but they fit perfectly and they sound really good. What we're going to do now is we're going to add the perfect complement to the minor chord, and that is the minor pentatonic scale. Now again, I've done a lesson previously on the minor pentatonic scale, so I'll post a link to it, but for now I'm going to whip through it nice and quickly. So we've got, so you can hear it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-note scale. So we've got root, flattened third, fourth, fifth, and flattened seventh. We can also go to the octave. So we get A, C, D, E, G in the case of A minor. With D minor it's D, F, G, A and C. With E minor it's E, G, A, B and D. And as with the chord arpeggios, we can also play this with a different fingering. So with A minor we can play root, flattened third, fourth, fifth, flattened seventh, and then take it to the octave if we wish. So that's root, flattened third, fourth, fifth, flattened seventh, octave. Similarly with D minor and E minor. So what I'm going to do now is have another play through the chord progression, but this time I'm only going to use the minor pentatonic scale. Second variation. Given that we're playing a blues, I thought it only appropriate that we look at something that's going to give us an authentic blues sound. So going back to the minor pentatonic scale, we've got root, flattened third, fourth, and we're going to add this note, the flattened fifth, fifth, flattened seventh, and octave. So we get root, flattened third, fourth, flattened fifth, fifth, flattened seventh. Let's listen to that. Now the addition of that note, the flattened fifth, which by the way is the blue note, and that's the note that's going to make all the difference to your bass lines, turns that scale, that minor pentatonic scale, into the blues scale. So that 6-note scale is the blues scale. Now this lesson isn't about the blues scale, it's about the minor pentatonic chord progression. But if you've got this far and you're thinking, why didn't he do more of that? Then please don't worry, because I'm going to do a dedicated lesson on the blues scale. For now, I'm going to have a final play through the chord progression, and I'm going to use everything: the arpeggios, the minor pentatonic scale, and the blues scale. Here goes. So I've introduced a bit of rhythm there, and I hope you can hear just how good all of the notes sound. So in summary, We've got a minor blues chord progression which is based on a 12-bar form. It uses chords 1, 4 and 5 from the parent scale, and all of those chords are minor chords, or in this case minor 7 chords. We can use the minor arpeggio to play over it, the minor chord arpeggio, or we can use the minor pentatonic scale, or in the latest instance we can use the blues scale, which introduces that flattened fifth, which gives us a really authentic blues sound. Now, there's a workbook that goes along with this lesson, and it's not a 2 or 3 page PDF. It's a full-blown workbook, so it's running at about 10 to 20 pages. It's got all the lesson content, but at the end it's got a bunch of stuff that's not in this video lesson, so it's packed full of ideas that will help you take this lesson material and work on it in different ways and develop it so that you can get it into your own playing. I'm currently releasing a new video every week, so please keep an eye out for them. Feel free to like the videos, subscribe to the channel, or hit the bell notification. That way you won't miss out on anything that I'm releasing. Thanks for joining me. I really look forward to seeing you next time, and in the meantime, happy practicing.